right out of that it was a $50,000 phase 1 SBIR. We did win the phase 2. The phase 2 was $500,000, but actually the commercial product was, for $50,000, that was enough money at that time to build the first prototype of the product and actually start selling it, which was bizarre for just a small amount of money. But when you don't know any better, you don't know that it's really supposed to take millions of dollars to make a product. you do what you do whatever you think is right. So it was ignorance and stupidity and bungling around that eventually got us our first successes there.
What kind of hours did you put in over? I mean, what was a typical week for you?
In the beginning, it was 60 to 80-hour weeks continuously for the first couple of years. But it's a great question because I don't do that anymore. I can't. Once you do that for the first 2 or 3 years, you kind of burn yourself out. Most companies either go under or get bought by that time. So if you're lucky, you get to sell your company and you can go off for 6 months and sit on a beach, recharge, and then do it all over again and do the same 60 or 80-hour work weeks. But that didn't happen to us. Ours turned into a 20-year story, all told end to end. And you can't be pounding down those hours. After about 5 or 6 years, you start to realize that your whole life can't be wrapped up in this one thing. You can't really do that. In the beginning, you have to. You really have to. I remember we were so tight on money and so abundant on our time. We actually, to go to a trade show from Boston to Florida, we drove. Okay, and actually I borrowed the car to drive to my sister. It wasn't even my car. We wound up driving, 2 days, whatever, to Orlando and back to attend this trade show. So when you do what you have to do when during those times, and working a lot is what else? At that point, what else did we have to do? Neither one of us were married with kids at that point. We just had the business, the basement of my house, and then one computer we paid $11,000 for.
Did you maintain that same culture with your early employees of kind of making every penny count?
Not just in the early times. Today, even to this day, and the rest of the presidents, the VT System group of company consists of about 8 companies in the United States. Mach is the second smallest of the 8. But I get to hang out. They let me hang out with all the big CEOs of the other companies. To this day, I still have never paid for a business class plane ticket. And everybody else, all the other presidents, who fly to the board meetings and whatnot, are all like, oh yeah, it wasn't too bad. Plane wasn't too bad. Yeah, I flew business or first class. I'm like, okay. Hey, for frequent flyer miles, I'll take a business class ticket. And this is like one of my shticks with my employees is this whole business class thing, but it permeates the whole organization because if they see me sitting on a plane for 15 hours, which I did 2 days ago, to fly from Chicago to Hong Kong in coach, okay, they're not going to come to me and ask me for $8,000 for a business class ticket, and it's a pretty easy. That's a pretty easy sell to them when I ask them, if you had the choice between paying the $8,000 yourself out of your own pocket or me handing you the difference in cash, what would you do? And they're all pretty honest. Like, of course I would take it in cash. If it was my money, I'm not going to spend that money. So instilling in them the concept of use it like it's your own money out of your own pocket is very valuable. And I walk the walk. You have to walk the walk. You can't just talk the talk, because otherwise, if the boss is blowing lots of money, then certainly I can as well. So it's a very, very important attitude to instill in companies. That's something like that can easily erode a company quickly. People start pillaging, and not caring, not treating the money as if it was their own. And it is very tough, very hard thing to do. If you have profit sharing, it's a lot easier thing to do. That's something that we've had since very, very early on in the company, which is taking off a chunk of our profits every year and saying, okay, this is the bonus pool. Okay, the bonus pool is this percentage of our profits every year. If you're frugal and you save money, bonus pool is bigger, you get more. If you don't, bonus pool is small. And that really helped quite a bit too. So it's a hard thing, but especially when you have founder owners that it really was our money. I could either dividend it to myself or do something else with it. So I never treated myself any better than any of my employees, and they all saw that.
I noticed from your CV that you studied mechanical electrical engineering. I'm also from the electrical background, but I think what you described, the products you described, are very software driven. Did your education equip you with the right tools to actually start up? I mean, it's a bit odd to start a high-tech company for the government to research new products with your kind of background. And my second question would be: are you still involved in other companies on a private level, or are you coaching other people in that aspect?
Okay, both really good questions. Did my education at MIT in mechanical and electrical engineering prepare me for the world of entrepreneurship and starting and running a company? Clearly not. Okay, not, and even technologically, my education at MIT didn't prepare me for where I wound up technologically. Okay, when I left MIT, my expertise was design of automatic transmissions for cars. Okay. How does that relate to anything I do? Well, I'll tell you how it related to what I did. I was interviewing for jobs, interviewing at car companies like Ford and GM, and, truck companies, Cummins, whatever, people who made transmissions. So I really loved automotive technology. Didn't get any of those jobs, but this company in Cambridge, BBN, had this simulation project, SimNet, and they happened to need a drivetrain modeler, somebody who could write software to simulate the drivetrain of tanks and other physical vehicles, other combat vehicles. And that was kind of a rare thing. There weren't that many people who had that much experience in mechanical design of automotive type technology. And it turns out that the guy who hired me, who's also still one of my best friends, great guy, he had this really tough problem in modeling a very strange automatic transmission that was in the M2 Bradley fighting vehicle, which was a fluidic-based, continuously variable ratio transmission. Bizarre power transmission device, and it's still in the Bradley fighting vehicle today. And I remember I went to a BBN open house, and here I am, some mechanical engineer who knows how to design automatic transmissions, and I randomly run into this guy, and he says, "Yeah, I'm looking for people. Do you know anything about drivetrains?" And I start rattling off all this stuff about continuously variable ratio transmissions that I've been doing at MIT, and he was like, looking around like, what is this, like a candid camera? This bizarre, strange, esoteric engineering problem this one kid who I randomly bumped into happens to have experience in. So he grabbed my resume immediately and hired me. And other than that, I was probably unhireable by BBN, and I might not have worked anywhere else. But immediately the very first thing I was doing was writing simulation software for automatic transmissions for tanks at first. But as soon as I started getting the hang of software, I didn't know C. I never programmed in C. It wasn't even C++, it was C back then. I knew some Fortran, I programmed in BASIC, and I had some programming jobs in high school, so I was comfortable with programming, but not with this particular language. But I took computer programming is not that hard. Right? You start pretty quickly. And if you're a subject matter expert, that's what you're there for also. But immediately I started doing other simulation software projects, and then I started running projects, and then I had my own couple of projects. So that took me in the direction of running projects and understanding how to put together whole systems. But then starting and growing a company, it was like somebody walking into a gunfight with a knife in his hand. I was totally unprepared for anything like that, and that could be one of the reasons for success. I was really too stupid to know how hard it was to start and run a business. And of course, once I had several months in, I'm not giving up now. I just wasted 9 months of my life. No way I'm giving up. I just ruined 9 months of my life. So the answer is unequivocally no. My background had nothing to do with either the ultimate technology I was involved with, or with understanding or knowing how to run a business, any aspect of running a business. On to your second question. Do I do any angel investing or help other entrepreneurs? Yes, I'm an angel investor. I invested somewhere